Federal authorities are offering a $100,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest of the possible kidnapper or something that would lead to Nancy Guthrie's location. Let's bring in Herman Weisberg. He's a former New York City police detective with more than 2 decades of experience in law enforcement. He's now turned his focus to private investigations as the managing director of the SAGE intelligence group. Thank you so much for being here, Herman. How does this case compare with the other kinds of kidnapping cases you've seen in your career?
Oh, this is a very rare crime to see in the United States. I've dealt with international kidnappings in Asia and Mexico, and most kidnappings are familial and related to parental kidnappings. But this is a extremely complex and extremely rare crime, and in my opinion, one of the worst crimes you could try to pull off.
Hmm. We got a lot of viewer questions like this. Who picks up grass to cover a ring cam? Does that behavior speak to the suspect's experience?
It really does. You're looking at somebody who really had a very bad idea and had this notion that he could pull off something. My team works. I have a couple of former Navy SEALs, for example, that have done abductions of terrorists and things like that. It takes an entire lifetime to train for this, and months of rehearsals and tactical, run-throughs. This person thought putting on a ski mask and having what it looks like possibly could be a gun and a holster that comes out of like a children's toy box, and trying to cover up a ring camera. Kidnappings require a lot of recon, a lot of surveillance, a lot of preparation. Whoever this was did not do any of these things, and it shows. This is not an experienced criminal, or not somebody with that put a lot of thought into this, in my opinion.
But Herman, a lot of people asked, he may be an amateur, but he still hasn't been caught.
That's part of the problem. This runs both ways. I think law enforcement, I know I would much rather deal with a professional criminal than an amateur in this situation. My hope is that because he's not a hardened criminal, possibly he'll have some empathy and finally, hopefully just turn himself in. I think would be a great outcome, and get Mrs. Guthrie to a hospital and back to her family. This is not a professional. I think things went wrong for him from the beginning, and I think it's starting to show now. I can only hope that he comes to his senses and surrenders himself. I think at this time, he could probably garner a little bit of sympathy from society.
Hey, Herman, I got to be quick with you. I got 30 seconds left, but another question that keeps coming up is, we don't know how this person got into the home. Why would law enforcement keep that close to their vest?
I really can't see any advantage or benefit to anybody to going through all of the information. They're still hoping that there's a reach out from this party, parties, and they're hoping that they can the information they're holding back can help identify and make sure that he's an actual actor here. There'll be plenty of time, CBS 48 Hours and Peter Van Zandt will go through all of these details for decades to come with this crime. But right now is not the time to share information. It's the time to help and bring this to an end, and hopefully get Mrs. Guthrie back to her family.
Herman Weisberg, thank you so much. Anna, your final thoughts.
Well, based on what Herman was saying, the reconnaissance element, I think that is going to be key. And we know that police are asking neighbors in specific windows. They've broadened it now to look for ring cam or surveillance cam video over the course of a month. But there have been reports of suspicious vehicles. We don't know if police were able to totally run those down. But I suspect that a vehicle will be identified eventually, and that is going to help solve this crime.
Once again, officials are asking anyone with information, please call the number on your screen or 1-800-CALL-FBI.